Alrighty, guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for Fairy Tail episode 315. Oh man, so I just got done watching 314, doing this double drop for you guys this week, and that was such a good episode. I'm very glad I'm doing another one this week and all that. But uh, there was something I was about to say. Shoot! Damn it! What was I gonna say? Oh, I'm gonna be doing a reaction of the opening and the ending this episode. So you're gonna see a bunch of time where there's no video on there because I'll have to cut the opening part out, but I'll keep my reaction to it in, if that makes sense. So you'll basically see me sitting there watching it, and I'll try to, talk through it. I'll try to, when I say like, oh, that's cool, I'll try to mention what I'm seeing and stuff like that for you guys, but yeah, so look forward to that. I've been skipping the opening up until now because I've been told there were spoilers. So now I'll be able to officially watch it and give you guys a reaction to it for the first time at least. So yeah, guys, the fight between Irene and Urza in the last episode is ramping up. Urza is very much hurt, going after a meteor with the one arm that's remained working, so I have no idea who's gonna beat Irene, who is now in her dragon form. Wendy's down. The only thing I can think of right now is either someone else comes in to help, but I feel like that'd be anticlimactic, or Wendy manages to put out a little bit more effort and magic and stuff and cast some like heals on Urza, and Urza is able to fight Irene again. But without Wendy's help, I don't know how Urza is gonna fight with only one arm, other than, I'm sure she'll take out this meteor, but then what? But I am very much looking forward to this, so I say we jump into it, shall we? Alrighty, guys, so like usual, down in the description there's going to be a Vimeo link you guys can click to get to the reaction, and then once you are done watching the reaction there, you can come back here for the discussion where I'll talk about the episode, things I liked and everything, any predictions I have and all that. But go ahead and click that Vimeo link right now, guys. Alrighty, guys, so that finishes up episode 315. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the double drop this week. That was a very slower episode. The last one was definitely way more hype and crazy. Urza taking down the meteor was crazy. I had no doubts that she would be able to do it. She's Urza, but I wasn't sure how Irene was gonna get taken down. And I'm not gonna lie, at first when she was just falling back down, granted it was badass, and Wendy imbued the sword with Dragon Slayer magic, I was like, okay, that's a way to make Urza do some damage with her sword. Smart. But it was like one slice and she was done. I thought that was a bit ridiculous, and then she changed back to her human form, which I don't know why she changed back to her human form, but didn't seem like she had much damage taken, but regardless, she was still okay enough to, walk up to Urza, stab her with the sword and such. But if she was defeated off that one slice, I would have been a little disappointed, right? Like, granted, we had an epic fight last episode. The only damage Irene really took was the cut to the head. So, I don't know, I thought it would have been a little anticlimactic just to have that swipe like that killer, but instead, they did something awesome, which I'm a big fan of. They kind of redeemed Irene a bit. Obviously, she could probably never be completely redeemed for the things she's done. I'm assuming, she hasn't killed anybody that well, no, I guess technically she killed Gramps, right? If she never enchanted the troops to be, the crazy demon things or whatever they were, then Gramps might not have had to do Fairy Law, which killed him. So technically, Irene could be blamed for his death. So, yeah, I guess, I was just trying to think of, if she's done anything bad on the show. Obviously we can assume that in the 400 years she's lived, she's done some bad stuff since becoming a dragon. Before that, she was a good guy, I felt bad for her past and everything, but I do think she did redeem herself a bit with this episode, with finding out that she was, going insane, tempted to enchant herself onto her daughter, which I thought she tried. I thought she was in the cell or whatever, or like, maybe not in the cell. She might have been in like some rundown building, and she was like holding her stomach, and she was like talking about how it wouldn't work. I thought anyway, but maybe I missed out on something. But then she gave birth, and she realized how, adorable and innocent her daughter was, and decided that she wouldn't do it. She'd give her up before she was tempted to give in, which is, respectable, So that was really cool. And then, she couldn't live with herself to kill her daughter, but she also couldn't live with herself to just live, I guess, if that makes any sense. So she ended up just taking her own life, which is crazy. At least I assume she's dead, Sometimes death can be a bit wonky in this show, but I'm assuming since she stabbed herself, fell over, Urza said goodbye, and we had Universe 1 revert, or dissipate in the words of Zareth, then we can assume that she's dead, so... At least she did redeem herself a bit on her way out, but... And Urza might have some lingering emotions with this, but she also said that her real father is Master, or her real parent, I should say, is Master, so obviously this one good deed isn't gonna make Urza, be like, oh no, Mom! I'll miss you forever, which makes sense, but there might just be some future emotions that are shown, possibly, depending on how much time after this whole war we get to really, like, mull things over. Wendy found out about Master's death. I always, it's so emotional, and I feel like it makes it even more emotional when they do that little writer's trick where they, the body language tells the person when they ask a question, they're like, I don't smell Master, where is he? Or whatever, and it's just the body language that gives her the answer. That's always such an emotional way to go about it. It's very much a TV cliche in, live action shows and anime where they just, can't say it out loud. They can't just be like, Master's dead. Some shows do that kind of stuff and stuff like that, but instead she just hugged her and was shaken and stuff, and Wendy noticed, so feels bad, man. It was a touching scene, But then we moved on to Natsu, talking to Igneel, which I will say this. They kept talking about, like, this, I guess maybe they never really said the secret at the end of his little vision stuff, but whatever he was heading towards in the vision, I thought it was going to be something more grand than it was. It was really just Natsu figuring out, like, what he thinks of himself, And I guess I maybe I hyped it up in my own head over these episodes that I thought it was going to be some other big reveal that we haven't seen yet, But it ended up just being that, he has this demon seed and this dragon seed in him, and he was given the options, are you a dragon or a demon? And his answer was, I'm human, so, he picked neither, which, pretty clever for Natsu. But definitely makes sense, And apparently the growth of the seeds was due to Natsu's own indecisiveness, him being unsure about everything, and now that he's just resolved himself that he is human, it was enough to dissipate both the seeds. And I talked about during the episode, it looks like he still has his fire, but I don't know what that means for his power, you know? Like with the dragon seed and the demon seed, they dissolved. Does that all dissolve into just magic power for Natsu? Or are they just gone? Obviously, he still has fire magic. Is it still Dragon Slayer magic? Is it, demon magic? Is it a hybrid of both? Is it neither? Like, that's what I'm unsure of. But, I mean, Natsu's power level has always been, like, thinking of it from a meta perspective, it's always been just strong enough for what he needs to do. So, it's probably doesn't really matter how much we talk about, his current strength and stuff like that, because he's gonna have whatever power is needed to finish the season and, defeat Zeref and Acnology and stuff like that. So, but I'm very much looking forward to that, because I feel like we're gonna get some crazy stuff, possibly some, more, like, states that he goes into. How, like, whenever he goes, like, really insane, he gets, like, scales, and it's progressed more and more as the seasons go. So I'd love to see some, like, badass stuff with his final fights, but I'm sure they will be crazy, given how good Fairy Tail is with all that stuff. But yeah, other than that, I will admit there was a lot of flashbacks. Some of them, I will say, this episode weren't exactly needed. There was some, like, while Natsu was trying to decide what he was gonna consider himself, he had some flashbacks to, like, the guild and stuff like that, with some, like, silly faces Urza's made. It was just like, it felt like it was just filling time rather than had a purpose, where a lot of the flashbacks had purposes, like where the last episode we had Wendy and Urza in some flashbacks because of what was happening between them. It showed them flashbacks of what happened between them, But Natsu's decision was just like, it showed them, like, fighting in the guild hall and stuff, and some of the fights weren't even, like, Natsu wasn't even in, like, the little scenes that it showed, but it's fine. I'm perfectly okay with that kind of stuff. It took away, there's a lot of lingering scenes in the beginning, too, where it was just, like, panning on their faces, and then Urza would do, like, something, and then it'd pan on their faces, and then Urza would do something, and then it'd pan on their faces, and it happened, like, 4 or 5 times. Doesn't take away from the episode. I still loved it, but it was just, like, so much of that stuff was happening this episode that it really slowed down, like, the content in it, and I actually don't have much more to talk about for this episode, but I really like the way Irene went out. The resolution to the Natsu bit of, like, everything inside his head wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be, but I like the way it was resolved, if that makes sense, So he's awake now. He's got his power, which we demonstrated a bit. He said he feels refreshed and ready to go, so we get to see some awesome Natsu stuff again. And then we also have the Universe 1, which expired after Irene's death. And now, shoot, what's the place called? Oh, what's their continent called? Shoot. Is that, like, the tip of my tongue? I can't remember. Man. Okay, well, the continent that they're on is back to the way it was. So that's cool. I thought that was going to be permanent, honestly. I did not think that it was just going to be like it's kind of like I don't play a lot of D&D, but I've watched a bit of it. It's kind of like concentration kind of check sort of thing, where, you have to keep it going with concentration, or else the spell will expire. And I thought it was just like a permanent, change, whereas not upon her death or, concentration break, it would fade, but interesting. I guess it makes sense, that they want to go back to, the status quo. They're kind of setting up towards the end, where hopefully Zeref will get taken down. Have whatever Mavis's plan is there will be executed. Acnologia will be taken down. August, however that ends up, and all that, and maybe we'll get. I hope we get like a whole finale episode after the fighting, where it's just like them being together in the guild again. I even wouldn't mind a couple episodes like that, but that'd be really cool having like the status quo back, them back, possibly in the guild hall and just like having fun, drinking, fighting, stuff like that. I'd love to see it again like once more before the show ends. So yeah, really looking forward to all that stuff. But I think that pretty much sums up most of what I have to say about this episode. You know, very, very good stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy the double drop. If you guys want to support the channel, you can hit that subscribe button. You can also go into the description where there's a Patreon link where you guys can, support the channel with money as well if you wish to, and you get some benefits in return, like early access, so you get to see some episodes ahead of time, as well as full length, so you get to see the whole episode with me without any of the cuts and all that stuff. So it's timer based, so you guys need your own footage to sync with my timer. I just do like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go kind of thing, and you guys start at the same time as me. But it, bypasses the fact that I gotta cut it down to like half the episode length and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week to continue on the rest of this final season. Bye, guys. Have a good one.